Yep, which adds a whole nother level to the tension of the race for the runners.
Yeah, definitely. And here we go. Our race is finally getting started here. Looks like we are out of Weetabix yet again and need to go to the store to get some. And looks like we have 50 rupees in the chest. Maybe the uncle forgot to grab that before heading to the store, so now we have to go deliver that money so we can get our Weetabix.
Yep, and we also know we aren't going to be getting a sword in Escape because Uncle didn't carry one. If it's vanilla, he walks out carrying the sword like normal. So by not having that, we know we won't be getting the most vanilla start.
Well, hey, that just makes it interesting, so nothing wrong with that. As we see what our uncle item is today, we have the hammer.
That's a pretty nice one. It's definitely one of the better weapons in the game to begin with.
Yeah, for sure, and unlike a lot of the weapons you can get in this section, it is one of the only weapons that will not run out of ammo or magic, so neither of our runners will have to worry about saving and quitting to get out of here, or to get a refill on anything.
It's true, and Xelnas got a little bit of a plus on his side there. One of the guards he killed dropped a bomb. Odinspack did not end up getting that bomb. So he has access to the back of Escape already. He doesn't have to farm any more guards.
The thing is, though, it was a green guard that dropped that bomb, so if Odinspack keeps killing green guards, he will essentially get that bomb drop as well. And we do have a couple of guards in here, so that should not be a major issue.
Yep, sometimes RNG just doesn't want to work with you, but usually you're going to end up getting if your opponent gets it on something there are a lot of.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it might also be on the green knife guard, so it may have to be a specific knife guard for him to get that kill. But again, he'll be able to pass through that hallway again, so he might be able to pick that up a little bit later. Do get a heart container in the first chest in this escape portion.
I don't think you'll ever hear anyone complain about getting a heart container. At the start, it's not the most exciting thing, but it does help you get through the early part of the run a lot easier.
That is very, very true. I could not agree with that more. Now, the bug catching net, that is not a required item whatsoever, but you know, it is a good safety item just in case. If you can get some fairies on the screen and have some bottles, you can grab some nice fairies to use as death restore.
Yep, and if Aghanim does end up required and you're a little bit bored by that fight, then you can use the bug net to make it a little bit more interesting.
Exactly, definitely.
I'll still always be disappointed that the ice rod is not a valid item for Uncle to have, just because you can't throw that green guard there into ball and chain guy.
Yes, the developers made it so any item that you get in Escape from the Uncle, you have to actually destroy every enemy on screen with the ice rod. Because of the way it works, when you have those rooms where you have to kill all the enemies, if you freeze the enemy, that's not going to get rid of the enemy at all, so it'll still be on screen. So every item has to be able to kill all of the enemies that you have to encounter and get through in the escape portion. So that is what it is essentially limited to.
Yep, and even more specifically, the blue guards died to the ice rod. The green guard is the only one that's a problem to have it start in the run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Now as we make our way back up to the sewers, Odin is still going to be looking for that bomb drop, probably going to kill a couple more guards on the way.
And remember, we want to see kills on the knife guards, not the sword guards, because I believe the knife guards are the ones that are dropping bombs right now. And there it is. Okay, perfect.
Very good. If one runner gets an early bomb, I always sit there hoping for the other runner to get one too, since it can make such a big difference if you have some bad luck in item placement.
Yeah, that is true. There is always the possibility where there could be a glove upgrade in those back chests of Escape. And that may be your only glove upgrade that you get at that point. The other glove upgrade might be locked behind it. So because of that, if you do get a glove upgrade in there and you don't get it around the first time, you have to go through the entire escape sequence again just to grab it. And that can be a very huge time sink.
then Zelna's got another bomb drop from the snake, so there might be another one coming up. Oh, yep, there it is. That can let them either make Kakariko a little bit more convenient if they don't get bombs from the tree pole or the crab, or it can just serve to get out of the room with the chest a little bit quicker.
Definitely. Looks like Zelna's having a little trouble getting that key rat to drop the key. Actually missed it before, but I'm going to have to go all the way over here to get here. We'll allow Odin to catch up a little bit since he was kind of spending a little extra time looking for those bombs.
Yep, the key rat is the true final boss of this area. Sometimes it is very hard to keep track of.
Ooh, unfortunately, thank God he had that other bomb. Because, yeah, he ran into some trouble with the rats right there. Manages to, you know, still get in there, but Odin is able to catch up a little bit more.
Yeah, nothing really in the back of Escape, so it wouldn't have mattered much if he hadn't gotten that bomb drop, but it's a lot of peace of mind to be able to go in there right away.
Yeah, for sure. Doesn't seem like we get anything too spectacular from that back of Escape, though.
Yep, so last chest of the area is the Sanctuary chest. I believe we saw the map, so there should be an item.
Just another piece of heart.
Another heart piece.
Okay, so both runners going to be leaving Escape in kind of the 6:30 area. Not a terrible time, considering, you know, could get a little unlucky with the bomb drops and whatnot, but they are on their way. It looks like both of them going to be heading to the Kakariko area first. It looks like they're both also going to be checking out the Lumberjack tree as well to make sure if there is an item in Lumberjack tree, we'll know right away that if we're going to need to beat Aghanim or not.
If I remember last spring tournament, that was pretty much the go-to start, was to check Lumberjack Cave. It's a lot less common these days, but can pay off nicely if you know what's up there.
And verifying on both screens, we just have a quiver upgrade, so nothing important. We're not going to be beating Aghanim for that, but Aghanim is not off the table just yet, because we could be beating him just for Dark World access, so we'll have to see what happens in this early part of the game.
Yep, one of the pluses to the hammer start is it makes it a lot harder for the seed to force Aghanim, but not impossible.
Oh, well, as we're talking about that, we get the second of the Dark World items. We get the Moon Pearl from the Thieves' Hideout here in the forest.
Yep, and you always enjoy seeing that early because it means that you don't have to go on a wild goose hunt for something that, you know, you might be through Aghanim, might be in Agina's cave, might be a farm for money, buy it from King Zora.
Which means we are just one item away from our Dark World access already. We need that Power Glove, and we don't have a lot of items right now. We do get a map check. Crystals at all three dungeons, regular crystals at Tower of Hera and Eastern Palace, and a red 5 and 6 crystal at the Desert Palace. And also we have the cape inside the tavern here.
If the 3 crystal dream is what you always look for, Zelnus is going to be going to buy bombs. I'm guessing Odin will probably stop into Blind's Hut on the way, see if they can get more bombs there. But doesn't seem that way. Going to go buy them first.
Yeah, it's understandable. Just want to make sure you have those bombs early enough. And oh, wow, Zelnus actually going straight to the library here.
Maybe going to try to make it so that he can kind of make up some time saving and quitting out of Blind's Hut.
That is true. Yeah, you could be doing that. Also going to be gambling on the race game as well. Oh, and Odin's actually using the Bomb Shack in Kakariko to farm some bombs. Doesn't have to spend any rupees this way.
I like that play. It's not as well known as just buying bombs since you usually have money here, but if you're tight on cash, it's definitely a quick way to get your bomb count built up.
Yeah, for sure. You have honestly have no idea how the early part of the seed is going to play out, and if you need rupees for Zora, you want to make sure you have enough for that. So, could be using this as a way to just kind of make sure that, okay, I have all the rupees I need. I don't have to worry about buying extra bombs. Just have to start saving up for that 500.
And we get Bombos in the back of the chicken hut, which could be important for one to three of three dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Force Bombos Ice Palace to get through when you don't have... Oh!
What are those? We got the boots. Boots at the bottle vendor. I guess he was a boots vendor today.
I think that's a vast improvement.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think that with how often our runners look for the boots, that would be a very, very desirable business in Hyrule.
Yep, although let's be honest, the vendors in Hyrule can sell whatever they're trying to sell, even if it's just a single rupee.
That is very true. That's a good point. So nothing major of value inside the Kakariko well, and pending this chest that Xelnas is about to open could be the same case for Blind Hut, just some bombs, which not bad, but unfortunately nothing super substantial in here either.
Yeah, the seat is running surprisingly empty in terms of Kakariko. The boots are nice, Bombos could be required, but nothing that really gives them many places to move.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Even the rupees have been a little bit stingy. Not as stingy as they could be, mind you, but yeah, only having 100 after kind of leaving the Kakariko area. Not really a whole lot.
So we'll have to see where they plan on going next. We know that South Shore has opened up, Eastern Palace is... Most people tend to go South Shore, but some like to go to Eastern instead.
Mm-hmm.
With the boots, there's also the little one-off location that is the Bonk Rocks, which looks to be where Xelnas is headed.
That's right. Honestly, not a bad location to check if you are still in Kakariko where Xelnas was. So, not a bad check for him.
Yeah, especially with him finishing his route at the north instead of down to the south, that was definitely a good call.
And looks like both of our runners are going to be heading towards Link's house here to... Yeah, looks like they're going for the South Shore.
Yep, definitely the highest density play to make. Eastern Palace, you kind of hope to get a bow in these early checks to be able to full clear when you're there the first time.
Not just the bow, but even just like the mirror and the rest of your Dark World access, because that could allow you to essentially finish up both Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness at the same time, and that is definitely, if you're going for routing decisions, that can be a very, very good play.
True, and in the most minor divergence of all, they do the well in opposite orders.
Mm-hmm. And we do get a book from outside the dam here, and that could also be pointing them in a slightly different direction here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone makes the play over there. Without the gloves or a fire source, it's a little bit of a gamble.
It looks like Xelnas is making that play. Odin attempting to go to the mini Moldorm cave, so once again, another route divergence here.
Yep, this could pay off big for Xelnas going over here first, depending on how the seed decides to play. If it's nice, it'll give him what he needs to get through this while he's over here. Otherwise, it might be tucked away over on the other side, and he'll have to make another trip over here.
Odin getting very lucky with the mini Moldorms in this room. One of them just would not move. So, as you see, he used bombs instead of the hammer, which might seem odd, but to be fair, and wow, getting the fire rod for his trouble as well. That could actually, if he gets the glove around here, oh, gets the lamp as well. My gosh, the fire source cave. But anyway, as I was trying to say there, Fire Source could give more incentive to Desert, but we still need that Power Glove to get to the end.
Yep, and a save and quit out without checking the Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, I think Odin is going to make that same play Xelnas did, and yeah, going just a little bit further on the South Shore to get those fire sources. That could make a huge difference here, because we know that Xelnas will not get a fire source from this dungeon, so if he gets Mitts, or not Mitts, but Power Glove, he cannot finish this dungeon.
Yep, usually the boots and book combined early are pointing you to Desert. It means there's going to be something there. But it's always kind of a game of when is it worth going over and risking the double dip.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Also, bright side, if we can finish this dungeon, they don't have to try to do hammer strats for Lamolus, which is
Yes.
a very large improvement.
It's also nice that Odin has that full magic as well, which Xelnas did not get that same drop. So, in addition, if they do find the gloves in here, that will allow Odin to actually essentially have a full magic meter for Lamnolus.
Coming up on the last couple of chests here. Compass in this one, so one more that could have an item that they have access to right now.
Ooh, unfortunately, this will make the desert play a bit of a bust for Xelnas, and it will be the same for Odin too, because again, those power gloves can't get to the back of this dungeon without those. So looks like Xelnas is going to go back to the southern shore to pick up the fire sources. If he goes further to grab the ice cave, if that power glove is in ice cave, that could be a bit of a problem for Odin.
Yeah, there's a lot of places it's not fun to go back to. Ice Rod Cave, even with the boots, is a very long walk from Link's house.
Even with the boots, it's a very long run. So yeah, it's not one of those locations you want to go back to unless you get like the flute or something.
Xelnas also using the bomb strats for mini Moldorms, which is honestly far safer than the hammer.
Ooh, but unfortunately the knockback of a bomb does toss him into the pit, and he does take a death here, so he is going to have to make his way back.
Yeah, it's the flip side of those bomb strats is they can go wrong.
But again, that hammer hitbox is as free as the hammer would seem in that case, because you have unlimited uses of it. It's just a very small hitbox for very fast-moving enemies, so you do not really want to use the hammer against them if you can avoid it.
Now, unfortunately, with the low bomb count left over, he's pretty much going to have to use the hammer, and it'll kind of show why this is the less preferred method.
For sure. Looks like Xelnas is going to still get that magic drop that Odin had as well. And looks like Odin is also going to check the Bonk Rocks, which Xelnas did a little bit earlier, so he's going to have that information. Or, oh, you know what this might be? This might be a Houlihan play from Odin.
Wouldn't be a bad idea with how tight the money's been. Of course, at the moment, Zora isn't in logic, so there might be a lower chance of progression over there, but it could be a good payoff to head over there after getting money for it.
Yes, the only way Power Glove can be at Zora is if, well, obviously the other glove is in play, but also having flippers. Otherwise, there is no way you can actually get to the Zora area at this time. Aside from fake flippers, obviously.
No.
Oh boy. Okay, gonna... Okay, I think he's thinking maybe I'll do some fake flipper strats or something. Oh, looking for a bomb drop. Okay, so he is able to get back here.
Yep, he ran out of bombs in the mini Moldorm cave and did not notice it in time to not run all the way up here.
That's true, and Odin actually demonstrating, Zelnus may have done this too, I just didn't notice, but the stun prize pack for this seed is actually bombs. So very, very appropriate that they actually found that out at this point.
Yep, and convenient to see it given the boomerang to get that stun prize as well.
Oh, looks like Zelnus is going to be attempting the water walk here. Unfortunately, does not get it.
Yeah, it's a nice little trick to make the run or the trip to Hobo a little bit faster. It's kind of a pain to get the exact placement where you're good for it on.
But he is going to be doing the backup, which is the fake flipper. It looks like Odin is going to be doing the same thing as well. And he'd be using bomb strats to knock himself to the edge of the screen so he can perform it. Doesn't quite get it, though. Ooh, unfortunately doesn't get it there either.
Hobo just carrying a bomb bag. Zelnus does get the fake flipper out of Hobo. Will now be headed up to do the water walk glitch at Waterfall of Wishing. Unfortunately, unless he gets a couple of rupee drops in there, he's not going to be able to afford Zora on this trip.
Yeah, it looks like Odin does not have enough rupees as well, but he is much closer to the 500 than what... Oh! Unfortunate snipe by the arrow there. As you can see, whenever you do the fake flippers glitch, you are in a position where if you take damage while you're in the process of doing fake flippers, you will actually take a death immediately. This is something programmed in by the developers because normally in the vanilla game, if you do the fake flipper technique and get hit, you are in a soft lock state. So the developers made it so if you get hit, you automatically die, so you don't have to worry about that. Xelnus pulling a sword from the Waterfall Fairy Cave.
Yeah, so definitely an unfortunate thing for Odin to have taken that hit there. That arrow guard sometimes just is lined up perfectly where he aggroes, and it's a very tough thing to react to.
It really is, and so unfortunately, because he did not get rupees in that trip, will be unable to get the Zora item, but Xelnus does have the information that there are silver arrows on the Zora ledge.
Yep, and the sword is going to make Boots' movement a lot simpler since you'll be able to dash. Hey, the flippers!
Okay, so thankfully, not too bad for Odin. That death will kind of set him back a little bit, but he is going to be using the flippers that he just found. And he got some money, too, so he is going to immediately go to the Zora area again and clean up what Xelnus was unable to pick up. So it is good that he did kind of grab this. Xelnus probably going to be a little triggered when he sees the flippers right here.
Yeah, nothing's worse than doing a sequence break that you can't quite finish, and then immediately getting the thing that makes it not a sequence break, and wondering, is that really where I have to go?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's Randomizer for you. But so here's the deal: we have still not found that Power Glove, and we don't have very many locations left. We can get to the Zora area now. We can check Zora, but aside from that, we just have Eastern right now. So Aghanim could be on the table.
Yep, and they already got that cape and sword in logic, which is more than enough to get you there.
Cape, sword, and the lamp as well. So yes, all the items have been collected for that.
It's pretty much down to what 3 items are in Eastern Palace. If it's an Aghanim seed, I'm expecting a hookshot to appear. That's a pretty common thing. Otherwise, we're looking for the glove.
If we do get that glove, though, there will be a lot of stuff in logic at this point. We could finish up Desert. We could go to Death Mountain. Can't get to Hera, unfortunately, yet, but can at least get there and see what's going to be up there. And, yeah, would open up a couple of different things.
Yep, and then it would that would give them a lot of options on how to start the Dark World as well. If they start down in Hype Cave up by Village of Outcasts, if they do make the Death Mountain play just to see what's up there before going elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We're approaching the Zora check, so we'll have to see if Xelnas is going to have to make another trip up to Zora to get some progression.
I believe we're up to 2 items in Eastern and just a piece of heart on Zora, so the progression is not here. I think there's only 1 chest we have left that could have progression. And it's going to be the big key chest in this dungeon.
Yep, or it'll be on Armos and they'll have nothing left.
Mm-hmm. We need to get that bow, though, first. Xelnas did not miss the flippers. He did get the flippers from Sahasrahla.
Oh, it looks like Odin has gotten the hint.
Ooh, okay, so this is going to be a bit of a gamble for Odin. We'll see if it pays out here, because we're going to find out what's in this last chest in Eastern. But yeah, Odin is going straight for Aghanim, not thinking that Eastern Palace may not be the play. And Odin is right. Okay, so because of this, Odin's going to get a bit of a head start. Basically gets rid of the deficit that he had from dying to the fake flippers. So this was a good call from him.
Yep, it was certainly a big risk to not check possibly 3 more items before heading in here, but a major time save because of how that worked out. Of course, Aghanim's Tower with the fighter sword is not all that fun, and the hammer is usually pretty awful against those knife-wielding guards, although Odin just did a great job with it.
Yeah, at least he'll have like the fire rod to kind of use as a backup as well, so that can get rid of these guards pretty easily if he needs to get rid of them in a pinch.
And then the ultimate question is, can we have the 15 Dream?
Not really a dream our runners really want to think about, but...
I'm not gonna lie, when I run, I always kind of hope for it, just to have that be something that's happened to me.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that, I guess.
Xelnas did take a bit of damage there against those knife guards, and it's getting pretty low on health. Gonna have to play it safe for a little while here.
Ooh, Odin got a little bit of a break there. Getting hit by 1 guard did allow him to kind of sneak past the other guards with those iframes, so that was kind of nice that happened.
Yeah, I gotta give some credit there. That was a pretty nice pincer attack they just pulled off.
Actually using bombos right here. I mean, hey, if you have it and you want to use it, does not have to worry about clearing out rooms. Not a bad idea.
Yep, just nope, not dealing with this. Peace out. Those spear throwing guards are a very annoying enemy when you've only got a hammer or a fighter sword to choose from.
Ooh, nice bomb drop there.
Yeah, bombs have been pretty tight on this seed, so definitely going to be happy to see a few of them drop like that.
Oh, and Xelna's taken a death inside Aga's tower, so I'm gonna have to climb again to get back up here. This is where progression is gonna be led to, like through here. So this is gonna be a required section here.
Yep, and honestly, the worst part about that, not even just the time loss, but having to go back in here without the magic meter to use the fire rod for anything.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, chat actually pointed out something very interesting that I did not think of. When Odin finishes the Aghanim fight here, if there's nothing on that pyramid ledge, Palace of Darkness is going to be the play, and unfortunately, Odin does not have enough money to get into Palace of Darkness. So if something is not on that pyramid ledge, then that could be a problem.
Well, with the hammer, you can always go down to Hype Cave. And that's 5 items down there.
Oh.
That should get them going somewhere.
That's true. Yeah, you always forget about that because yeah, he does have that, so that's not too bad.
Okay, round 1 of Aga not going great. I hope I have not cursed these two.
Odin is doing this fight very, very well, though, making sure he's always at the side of Aghanim whenever he fires an attack. Basically, when you do this, you're basically assuring that if he does throw a blue ball at you, you're not going to get hit by any of the backfire on it. So you just want to kind of aim at him from the side, not in front, because that will definitely change the patterns of the scatter shot, I guess.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I actually never noticed that that was the cause of the difference in that.
Mm-hmm.
Xelnos on his refight here, using the boomerang to keep himself nice and safe throughout.
And Odin does make it through the Aghanim fight, so what is going to be on this pyramid here? If it's not here, again, there's Hype Cave that's coming up as well. A couple of other items he could check. It's just a red rupee. He is going to grab that because he is kind of strapped for cash right now.
Yeah, it's rare you'll see anyone go out of their way for a big 20, but when you're talking about 40 rupees 30 minutes into a seed, yeah, it'll probably happen.
Mm-hmm. And looks like... Oh, okay, well, here's the thing. He is going to be able to get up here, but he's not going to be able to advance any further because there is a stone blocking his way when he gets to the Dark World Witch's Hut. So, unfortunately, going to be a bit of a time loss right here. And he realizes as he's dashing, so he's going to save and quit back.
Yep, and I'll be interested to see where he's going to head to next.
At this point, his only option is Hype Cave, so that is where we want to see him go if we want to get progression here. Meanwhile, Xelnas in the middle of his Aga fight now.
Yeah, I was curious if he was going to go try to farm some rupees up so he could go to Pod over by Desert or in Kakariko, or if he was just going to come back to Dark World to head over to Hype Cave. And kind of on a related note, Xelnas does have 230 rupees left, having not made the Zora play, so he will have Pod as an option when he gets through the Saganin fight.
Odin did try to do a very stylish hammer dash through these pegs, but unfortunately the guards clipped him just as he was doing that, so was unable to make that play, unfortunately.
Here we go, to the cave that's sometimes the best, sometimes the worst.
Well, that'll cover Pod.
Yeah, it's a nice start in this situation.
That's a good item too. Hookshot, more rupees, and the Power Glove. Okay, we are in business, baby. We have our full Dark World access. Well, not full Dark World, but we can get to Dark World at our leisure now.
Yeah, that was a pretty hype cave. Not gonna lie. That also opens up all of Death Mountain, including Tower of Hera, that they could do, which would be in logic with the lamp and the glove.
And that honestly could be Odin's play right here. It's either that or Dark World from the Village of Outcast side, and it looks like it is going to be the latter, going to go to Dark World from this portal over here.
Yep, and Xelna's choosing to skip over Pod for now, heading down to Hype Cave, where he's going to get his little treasure trove.
That is a good play for him, because this will essentially unlock for him the most stuff, so that is a good play for him.
Unfortunately, on his end, the 50 rupees is less exciting.
Now, chat, I hope you're ready for this. Odinspack going to be heading over to the pedestal here. Going to get a nice little pedestal check to see if there's an item on this item location. So let us see what we have.
It's definitely a pretty good time to check. Ooh, map check. T-Rock, Skull Woods are pendants, and Swamp is the green pendant. Then we had, I believe that was Thieves Town as the other 5/6 crystal.
I hate saying this, but okay, it looks like it was 300 rupees on the pedestal, so that's not going to be required, unfortunately.
Yep, if they're lucky, they may never have to step foot into Swamp Palace or Turtle Rock in this seed, and that's just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Xelnas did go with a little bit different route here, heading along the South Dark World checks from Hype Cave, instead of likely going to them after Village of Outcasts. Unfortunately, didn't game only 10 arrows, so not really a big deal.
And Odin is going to be checking the items that we have in Skull Woods next.
And he could full clear this if he so chose in terms of equipment. Gets the mirror there, which is wonderful.
Yeah, right away, Mirror will unlock 2 locations in the northern part of Dark World, the Graveyard Ledge and the King's Tomb. So those are 2 checks he could do essentially after Skull Woods. But you were talking about, yeah, Odin could full clear this dungeon right now. And Fighter Sword Mothula can be a very, very annoying fight. So my best of luck to Odin on this fight coming up, if he does decide to go through the whole thing.
It could turn out being a benefit of that ped check. If he gets both items before Mothula, he doesn't even have to consider that option, because he knows it's not going to be required.
That is true. That is another good point.
Xelnas is falling right behind into Dark World over here as well. We'll see if he goes to Skull Woods or if he heads down toward Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town.
Yeah, it looks like he's also going to be making that Skull Woods play. Down to 2 more locations before Mothula.
Yep, including this one here, which is the most annoying location to check. That full magic drop makes it easy to make a choice here, though.
Yeah, for sure. I bet Odin was thinking, like, okay, well, I don't want to waste my magic here. But then when he saw that full magic, he's like, okay, change my mind. Let's use it.
Yep, the other option would have been Boomerang, which gives a little bit of lag. So Fire Rod is a little bit quicker to get through that whole area with.
Ooh, and both items have been found in Skull Woods. Odin realizing that, you know, I have 2 great items here. I don't need to finish this dungeon. Nothing's on that pedestal. Let's get out of here. Getting both the mirror and the Titan's mitts here in Skull Woods.
Yep, now it'll be interesting to see how Xelnas handles this once he finds that Titan Mid. If he also walks out right away or if he continues on to check pedestal afterwards.
Well, hey, in his mind, he could be thinking, okay, well, let's check pedestal, and that'll determine whether or not I have to beat Mothula. And in this case, that will not be required. So, and oh, taking a death right there.
Yep, a little, I need more health to this bomb jump, so I'm just going to jump down this hole.
That makes sense. And looks like Odin is going to be starting his adventure through Thieves Town and the Village of Outcasts area.
Yep, Thieves Town being a crystal that can be full cleared, might as well knock this all out while you're here. That Dark Death Mountain, or Death Mountain play is very tempting after getting the mitts, the mirror, and the hookshot all recently.
Definitely, and one thing to note is, unfortunately taking a death right there from an enemy. Now, it's not too bad. He does have the mitts, so he can get back to the Kakariko area very easily.
Unfortunately, he also got that mirror, so now he starts on the pyramid.
Yeah, that's true. I was like, wait a minute, why is he... Oh, right, he got the mirror just now.
Yep, and for anyone watching who doesn't know how that works, if you don't have the mirror, you're just going to start back in the light world. That allows you to move between the two before you get it. Once you have it and Aghanim is dead, then you're just starting on the pyramid if you save and quit in Dark World.
Mm-hmm. And oh, right, Odin did not check this earlier. That is correct. I almost forgot about that. I thought he was going to check it, but then he surprised me by going over to do the Houlihan room. That's right.
And Xelnas not bothering to even check the pedestal or consider Mothula, just getting his Titans with a mirror and leaving.
Understandable. Wants to make some time here. Probably thinks, you know, there's not really a huge chance there could be anything on that pedestal. I might be okay. So decides to up and go ahead and leave.
Odin's going ahead and making this play up Death Mountain for, I want to say, around 16 items that are up here, not counting Hera.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. He can get to Dark World Death Mountain, so that's even more stuff he can do. Can probably get in the Spike Cave location as well. So, yeah, a lot of stuff he can do. He can also check. Can't get, but he can also check what's at the Ether Tablet. So a couple different options here.
Meanwhile, Xelnas is over here checking the most skipped location, I think, in Rando, which usually pays off if you check it early and it's got something important.
Yeah, very underrated location here. Just the shovel. I mean, that shovel could lead to something, but yeah, there could be some items on there, and it's a very easy location to kind of miss and forget about over time if you kind of go off and do other things.
Yeah, once you've got Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb done, it just becomes this little one-off location. But might not matter this seed. Still gotta wait to find out what that shovel's got.
Yeah. Ooh, Ether Medallion. That could come into play. We don't know what the medallion situation is yet, but that could come into play. Also get a health upgrade at the Ether Tablet.
It's always such a relief when you don't have Master Sword, you check a tablet, and it's nothing you ever want to come back for.
Anyway, Odinspack going through Tower of Hera now for his first crystal dungeon. Xelnas going back to Village of Outcasts. I feel like that death from Odin may have discouraged him from coming back here, at least for right now. And one thing I was going to mention is that Thieves Town is a 5 and 6 crystal dungeon, and so is Desert Palace, both of which are in the logic right now. So Pyramid Fairy could have something important.
Yeah, you always get that question in the back of your mind when they're available this early. It's always kind of a question of, is it worth the time, though, since it can be a slower check.
That's true. And unfortunately, because our runners came to the Dark World from the Pyramid, there is one less item in that general direction, so gives definitely less of a priority to that location.
Yeah, you do get the added benefit of being able to mirror and going through the castle portal, but it's usually not something you're going to see many people put priority on checking super early.
Mm-hmm. And after a nice little coffee break on the pegs, Odin gets his big key to this dungeon and is going to have to mirror back out and then climb up the rest of the tower.
And first chest in Thieves Town is a big 20, so that's not exciting.
And the second chest was just a quiver upgrade, so still nothing in Thieves Town. Still 2 chests left here, and I don't think Odin's found either of the items in Harry yet, so we can still be surprised by one of these 2 plays.
Yep, gotta love 2 different routes ending up in 2 different crystal dungeons. Oh, there's something nice.
That's right, that is the Cane of Samaria, which we will need for Misery Mire, and if there is an item in Turtle Rock, we'll have that as well, and also if there's something on the right side of Gen's Tower, so definitely a solid find from Xelnas.
It's one of those items that don't lock a whole lot of locations, so they can be pretty much anywhere and can be kind of tough to find at times.
Thing is, if Xelnas does have the right medallion for Turtle Rock, if he goes up to Death Mountain and there is something in there, even if it's a pendant dungeon, that could give him an advantage.
Yeah, it's true. He would be able to dip in there right away if it's Bombos or Ether.
Nice dodging from Odin in that Moldorm fight. Takes him down. Gets for his trouble just a red rupee. So nothing too important here in Tower of Hera, but he does get his first crystal at the 47-minute mark.
The first crystal of the run, and the seed didn't really give you all that many chances to get anything earlier. Kind of forced you to go through a lot of the world to even get to a point where you can get 1 crystal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the breaks with the randomizer sometimes, though. Xelna's trying to be very careful in Thieves Town. Do not blame him. The enemies in this dungeon really pack a punch, and normally you have Master Sword at this point, so the enemies won't go down easily, and it could be a bit of a pain to have to deal with enemies with such underpowered weaponry, so making sure he does not take a death in this dungeon.
Yeah, and those crickets in general, they move like the little Light World rats, but they hurt like any full Dark World enemy.
And there we go. Xelnas does take a death here in Thieves Town. Gonna have to start from the beginning again. They make his way back there. And Odin picking up the Master Sword from Spiral Cave.
That's going to be very helpful. Fighter Sword's Master Sword is a major difference.
And if we are going back to Odinspack's last race, he's already much better equipped to take on Ganon than he was in his Week 3 race, where he had to do the unfortunate Master Sword silverless. So with the silvers, he's at least going to have a better fight in that regard, and it still has the potential to find some other sword upgrades too.
First 2 chests of Paradox Cave, just some money and a little bit of a heart piece, but the money of Paradox Cave is up to the top here with these 5 chests. Now this is just making me look like a liar.
It's okay. We still have Dark World, Death Mountain. There's still some items that Odin could pick up.
Yep, both Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave are going to be fully available. It's another 6 items. It is actually kind of surprising to go through this much of Death Mountain without finding anything, though.
Well, at least he got Master Sword. At least he has that going for him. And he has a lot more health that Xelnas has as well, so that could also come back to help him when he goes through Thieves Town.
Unless he's going to be trying to go over here and enter in the Turtle Rock portal, so you can just open it right up if it requires bombos.
Odin wants to see the Bombos medallion for this.
Of course, without the cane, he won't be able to do anything in here anyway, but having the door open is nice to do earlier. Hey, there it is.
And he has the right medallion. Okay, that is good. Now, Xelnas could still gain a bit of an advantage if he comes back and decides to check Turtle Rock for some items, but, you know, still, it's peace of mind knowing that you have the right medallion, so that's one less dungeon entryway you have to concern yourself with.
It'll be very interesting to see when Zelnus does come up if he tries to make that play or if he just plays it safe and avoids it for now.
It would be a very strong play. There are 5 items, 6 items if you count the Mimic Cave location, so, you know, there could be some value there. We'll have to wait and see.
Zelnus pulling that fight off with one hit away from death.
And he picks up his first crystal. Odin does pick up a bottle here in Hookshot Cave. Not really progression, but it does lead him to an item location in the form of Sick Kid and Kakariko, so that is one extra check he can make when he goes back in that area.
And having done digging game already, Zelnus can route in the blacksmith over here nice and easy. Oh, there's our third medallion.
All medallions are accounted for. Xelnus missing that Quake medallion that Odin just picked up. Odin missing the Ether medallion, which is in the King's Tomb, which, you know, with 2 locations up there, he still has to check. I can imagine that he might go back there at some point, but still, again, we've talked about before, that Graveyard Ledge location is a location you can easily forget about, and King's Tomb in the very same fashion, so hopefully that does not happen to him.
And now wrapping up the full clear of Death Mountain with Spike Cave.
Yeah, Adirondack Rick mentioning in chat, in Odin's last race, there was a sword upgrade here, which, again, that would have helped him tremendously in that last race, so this location is probably very fresh in his mind right now. And gets a blue tunic for it, wow.
That's a nice little payoff there.
Definitely.
Now the question is, where is Odin going to go next? Zelnus is bringing the purple chest down here and might just route right into desert afterwards.
I think Odin might be heading back to the Village of Outcasts area. He did take a death in there earlier. He's probably thinking, well, if my opponent has been kind of through this area, he might have gotten something from that. So, going to be more than likely finishing up this area.
There's another sword in the cave south of the Haunted Grove.
Ooh, so we know where 3 sword upgrades are.
It's definitely an easier one to miss, but I would say probably unlikely to go missed, because if you're going to do purple chest, you're going to be right near it.
And Zelna's forgetting that. Wait a minute, I already checked the Stumpy location.
And then deciding, oh yeah, I have the shovel. Let's take care of that while we're up here.
Mm-hmm. Getting half magic for it, so still good that he came over here.
Yeah, and that graveyard ledge isn't required, but it's certainly nice to get.
Mm-hmm.
Odin is going to have a little bit easier time here in Thieves Town having that Master Sword. Stuff is going to die a lot easier. The blue mail is going to keep him alive a lot better. All around, going to be a better experience for him.
Definitely. I can definitely agree with that. picking up his Cane of Samaria, and meanwhile, Xelnas pulling the flute from the purple chest.
Now that is just rude. That flute makes the purple chest so much easier to do.
It does, but at least, like, and definitely for Odin's case, he still has to kind of check the items on the way to that location, so, you know, at least he'll have that going for him, where he can just kind of bring the chest down there, and more incentive to check those locations.
Yeah, with Flute being there, the chances of him missing that third sword upgrade are very, very slim.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Xelnas going immediately to activate that flute. Can't say I blame him. That is definitely a good thing to do right now.
Yep, and it could potentially give him access to a full clearable crystal in the form of Misery Mire.
Yeah, we still do not know that medallion for it yet, and if it is Quake, Xelnas might have to go to Death Mountain first before he can do anything there.
I think the only item that we need that we don't know where it's at is the bow. I would be remiss to not guess Turtle Rock for that.
Yeah, that could, very well could be where that bow is. I mean, we have access to that dungeon.
Xelnas is making the play up here to Boredom Mountain. Sword upgrade, one medallion, and a whole bunch of nothing.
Also, Xelnas demonstrating that when you have the Pegasus boots, you cannot run with the old man. The old man, unfortunately, his legs aren't what they used to be, so you can't run with the old man, unfortunately.
Unless you do spin speed, then you can run with him all you want. Which really can only come up in Entrance Randomizer, where you don't come out right by his cave.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there aren't exactly a lot of slopes we can take advantage of in this particular scenario, but yeah, an entrance, that would be something you could do.
And Odin is coming up on the blind fight here. See how that goes. The Master Sword doesn't make it any easier, but you do have a little bit more reach, which can be a benefit.
Let's not forget, Odin does have that blue mail as well, and that will give him a little extra defense. Blind himself, the fireballs will always do 1 heart of damage regardless of your mail upgrade, but Blind himself with only green mail can do 2 hits of damage if you run into him or get hit by the head, so definitely well more defended than what Xelnas was before, with more hearts as well.
And when you think about it, Blind is one of the best designed bosses specifically for Rando, in that regardless of your equipment, it's going to take the same amount of hits. Regardless of your equipment, most of the damaging stuff can do the same amount of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter when you get here, it's a relevant fight.
Yeah, definitely.
He did quite well on that.
Yes, he did, and that'll give him his 2nd crystal, and now he has definitely a couple of options he can do now.
Did I just see the Bomble Hut in the southwest unbound?
Yes, I saw that as well. I don't think that ended up having anything, thankfully, for Odin's sake, but yeah, he did kind of not bomb that open before.
I was going to say, I couldn't distinctly remember if Xelnas had done it himself either, if they had somehow ended up both missing it, and it was going to be that mystery location till late.
I mean, I suppose that's possible. I honestly don't remember him opening it either. I imagine he did, just because he didn't die in the overworld like Odin did, but, you know, it's hard to make that call at this point. And looks like Odin is going to be doing some side questing here, which is good. He'll run into his 3rd sword upgrade. He'll run into the flute if he does purple chest. So this is going to be a good play for him.
Yep, and then it'll be interesting to see where he goes next. Got a few things that are open to them for sure. Dungeon-wise, Desert is full clearable, which opens up Pyramid Fairy. Ice Palace is full clearable. Mire is full clearable. Swamp is full clearable. They got a lot of options.
You can enter Pod and do some stuff in there. Turtle Rock, obviously, is a place we can explore. Don't have the Ice Rod to finish it, but we do have a lot of the other items we need to just get to the end of it. And yeah, there are a lot of options here, and it will come down to who picks the right option for this particular seed.
I've become a proponent in V29 of always bet on Turtle Rock. That's really been a thing for like 3 versions now, but
That's true. When you get all of the items for Turtle Rock, you have to kind of look at it like, okay, this dungeon is in the logic. Even if it's a pendant dungeon or a crystal dungeon we can't clear yet, there could be something in here. So you have to kind of keep that in mind when you're going through a seed like this.
yeah, the more practical play is definitely on the Desert, maybe Ice Palace and Mire side, but the T-Rock play could be the big payoff.
It really could, and Xelnas will have that option when he gets over to the dark side of it. Death Mountain, I mean.
Now, Odin has not checked Stumpy yet, but doesn't have the shovel, so won't be getting that half magic here.
Thankfully, and again, a large part of this will depend on runners' comfort with certain equipment, but I feel like when you have Tempered Sword, Silvers, at that point you're not really as concerned with half magic, but you know, again, a lot of these runners aren't as experienced as other runners are in this tournament, so they might be feeling a little more comfortable with certain safeties and stuff of that nature, so we'll have to see.
And the half magic as a whole is just a good time save on the gauntlet, being able to burn all the Stalfos instead of having to chase them down.
That is very
could
true.
come into play. And we approach everyone's favorite boss. 3 sword spins will take Moldorm down.
Ooh, just barely saves himself on that ledge there. Does get him down, though, so Moldorm is down for Xelnas. That is crystal number 2 for him. And I am wondering where Odinspack is going right now. Is he... Oh. He was thinking about it there for a minute. And he is going for it. He is going to be checking Swamp.
Yeah, that's a bold move.
It is. There are crystal dungeons to check. You know, could be thinking, I have the items for this for a very long time. It could have placed the bow in here in that item sorting algorithm. So, you know, not necessarily a bad gamble per se, because it is available, but, you know, there are crystal dungeons available, so it's an interesting play for sure.
I do get the idea on seeds that give you this kind of tons and tons of options. One of the biggest factors is, can I do something that my opponent won't? Oh, maybe he just mismarked and thought it was a crystal, because he's out of there.
Okay, he is checking the map. And yep, he is leaving. Okay. And, you know, that happens sometimes. Sometimes you mismark, sometimes you just kind of not think about that. You see the dungeon, okay, let me check what's in here. And they're like, oh, wait, I shouldn't be doing this. So, looks like he's going to be moving over to Ice Palace instead, which is a crystal dungeon. It's a good check as a result.
And still a gamble, just slightly less of a gamble.
Oh, and okay, Adirondack Brick pointed out that Odin probably heard the music as well when he was coming in here. He's like, wait a minute, that's not Crystal Dungeon music.
Yep, if there's anyone around who kind of started learning about Rando during the Key Sandy tournament when that was all the thing, in normal Rando, the music means something.
Yes, it does. Specific music, Crystal Dungeons play specific music, so you can use that to tell. If you don't like looking at your map for any reason at all, you can use that to find out whether or not a dungeon is pendant or crystal.
Zelnus making his way out of Paradox Cave will be seeing that he can open T-Rock very soon.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's kind of go over the current state of this particular seed. Both runners could be potentially one item away from go mode. We still need to nail down that location of where the bow is, and depending on where it is, one of our two runners could be in go mode. But it will largely depend on what the medallion is for Misery Mire. If it's Bombos, and if either of runners get the bow, they're in go mode. If it's Quake, and if Odin gets the bow, he's in go mode, and if it's Ether and Xelnus gets the bow, he's in go mode. So a lot of different things could happen here.
Yeah, very much so. And kind of as a point of interest, there's not likely going to be a reason for Zelnus to go over to grab those silvers unless he's looking for them to have them. And with not making the play over there yet, I would be kind of surprised by that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Odin trying to do the bomb jump right here. I think he had it, but then just moved one pixel down. I think he's opting to not do it now, which he has the Canis of Maria, so doing the bomb jump not really required anyway, so probably a good call to kind of just abandon that plan.
Yeah, it makes things slightly faster, but not much.
Mm-hmm. And now Xelnus has all three medallions, so he is literally just the bow away from go mode. If he finds it, he is in go mode no matter what.
Gonna go ahead and check the floating island here. And say goodbye to Death Mountain.
Okay, so yeah, he is not making the play on Turtle Rock for right now, which is understandable. There are crystal dungeons that he can be doing, and if he goes into Turtle Rock and does not find it, that would be a huge time sink, and something Odin will probably not do for a while, so playing it a little bit safe, but honestly, playing it safe, not a bad thing to do sometimes.
Now the question is, where will he be heading here?
Looks like this is going to be a catfish check for him. Also, probably a Zora grab as well, since he has not gotten the Zora item, and will also pick up the silvers in the process as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only way you can route catfish together with anything, and it's going to be a little bit disappointing on one of the fronts. I don't think we've actually seen catfish yet.
I don't think we have either, so this could very well have the bow. Just a heart piece, so Xelnus is not concerned with that.
And then gonna go get his piece of heart from Zora. Hey, there's a butter sword.
Yep, the gold sword has been found. And the bow has been found. Oh my gosh, this could be huge.
Ice Palace was the play. Now the only question that remains is Meyer Ether or Quake?
Yeah, that is a big thing. And again, that one Dark World location with Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb can be very, very elusive. So Odin's going to be hoping that that Misery Mire requirement is either the Bombos or Quake. He has a 66% chance of being in go mode right now.
If I got to imagine, it's probably going to be straight to Meyer after this to make sure of the situation.
For sure. I mean, at that point, yeah, you want to make sure, hey, am I in go mode? And if you are, great, let's do this. Let's finish up this game.
So let's go over here to Sick Kid for a nice quick check of what that bottle gives. And Sick Kid trades you a bottle with a V inside of it for showing him your bottle with nothing inside of it. You must not be very good at catching bugs, mister. See? Look, I caught this V.
Ooh, okay, and Xelnas, we're not going to get the check from Odin, we're going to get it from Xelnas here. What is the medallion for Misery Mire? Leaving us in suspense.
Yeah, with all three medallions, he doesn't have much of a reason to actually go out of his way to check it, so we'll probably just see as he goes over to the checkerboard.
Yeah, that's true. I admittedly did not think of that right away. Wow, at this point we might actually see it from Odin before we see it from Xelnas.
It certainly seems that way. This is a very solid bit of routing from Zelda still. Probably going to be knocking out Desert Palace and then Meyer while he's over here.
Oh, you know, Odin started at Sanctuary. Okay, he's not... Oh, he has to activate the flute still, doesn't he? Yeah, okay, never mind. I was like, wait, why did he start back at Sanctuary? He has the flute. Oh, right, he has to activate it first. And you have Xelnas jumps in the desert, so we're still being on hold with that medallion check.
I think Odin will make it there first.
At this point, yeah, I think you will. I mean, I think that's kind of obvious at this point. Lamnolis is a very quick boss, but still, with the Dark World transition and everything, I think Odin still will be there first.
True, I wasn't really accounting for having to transition back for walking down and seeing the medallion.
And, oh, okay, checking Sick Kid first to get his second bottle. Not liking that. Okay, it's showtime. Let's see. Is Odinspack in go mode here? It's Quake! Ladies and gentlemen, Odinspack is in go mode right now.
Yep, official go mode confirmed. That King's Tomb location burns no one today.
Mm-hmm. And see, the thing is, Xelnas might be losing a little more time because Ice Palace is one of those dungeons you want to do in go mode. So because of that, he may hold off on that. Thankfully, there's not much in between that, so he'll have to go there eventually anyway, but we'll probably be looking through Misery Mire for the bow when he gets in here.
Yeah, which depending on big key placement could take 0 extra time, could take a huge amount of extra time.
Mm-hmm.
That said, if it's a late big key, then we definitely still got a race, and so he'll likely be headed to IP very soon afterwards.
In chat, don't you need Ice Rod for Turtle Rock? You do need Ice Rod for Turtle Rock, but Turtle Rock is not going to be required in this particular seed, so they do not have to set foot in that dungeon at all.
Which is always super satisfying. In fact, on this seed, you did not need to enter... Well, you did need to enter Skullwood, so 2 out of 3 pendant dungeons you never even needed to touch.
Yeah, it was more so they were just passing through Skullwoods, not really doing anything with it. But yeah, that is true. They had to go into that pendant dungeon for items, but the other 2 you could essentially avoid without any contact whatsoever.
Now we'll start to see how the key layout of this dungeon is, which is very important to Xelnas.
Yes, it is, definitely. And the big key is right here, which it's not. It is narrow upgrade. But if the big key was there, that'd be a very quick dungeon clear for Odinspack.
Coming up on the second phenomenal big key location, and it's a small key.
Yeah, Misery Mire, one of the more interesting dungeons of the game, where you actually, and this especially is true for Key Sanity, but you don't actually have to find any small keys and chests to complete the dungeon. The dungeon's laid out in a way where you can get enough small keys from pots and enemies to make it through.
Yeah, since there are a few doors that actually serve zero purpose if you know where important stuff in the dungeon is, it pays off.
Yeah, for sure. I still have not locked down this big key yet, and looks like Xelnas is going to be going into the cutscene room. Which
Yeah,
is
and he will
basically
be getting the big key here.
Hmm.
There was a small key in that room north of the torches, which means that a big key has to be down here to prevent potential key locks.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
So depending on if Odin is aware of that logic, he might get the big key early, or he might decide to route back, check the other stuff, and then go to this in the last area.
Definitely. And there it is, yep. Big key in its vanilla location.
And the whole reason for that logic requirement is the rupee room that no one knows exists in the bottom right of the dark room.
Yep, that is true. And looks like Odin is going to be avoiding the big key for a little while. Does not understand the logic that you were referring to. But, you know, that does bring up a good point. One thing we didn't really highlight is that, you know, for these 2 runners, Xelnas, definitely well recognized in the speedrunning community and the speed gaming community for, you know, being commentary, restreamer for a lot of different tournaments. He's very aware of the logic and Link to the Past. Odinspack is actually not a speedrunner by trade. He joined this tournament because he loves Link to the Past, he loves randomizers, and basically wanted to give it a try. And, you know, here he is. He's in go mode right now. He is on his way to potentially achieving his 2nd victory in this tournament. So definitely major props to him for being able to join a tournament with a lot of competition and do pretty well. So yeah, definitely major props to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And for someone who isn't the speedrunner by trade to be playing this game the way he is very impressive. You're used to the NMG runners who have got, you know, sub 135, sub 130 times coming in and playing real good at rando. See the people who don't have that background come in and play so well is really pleasant, and the fun part of this community getting as large as it has.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I couldn't agree more. And if you look back on Odin's opponents for this tournament so far, one is round 1 match against Docu Horror Smith, but then had for his 2nd round matchup TGH, and then for his 3rd round matchup against Kroya, 2 runners who are very well known in not just the randomizer community, but also like the NMG community and speedrunning in general. Like, you know, it was a tough road. He had a tough road getting to this point. So definitely, like you said, major props to just join a tournament race of this magnitude, or a tournament of this magnitude. Put yourself out there and to do as well as he is. That's very, very impressive.
And I do think that it's correct that once they're both done with this dungeon, even if Xelnas goes to ice right away, Odin will have a slight lead left over.
That's true. He's kind of approaching the end of Misery Mire here. Just due to the equipment that our runners have, Zelnus is going to have to take a little bit longer to take down Vitreous here, while Odin will just be able to blast him away with silver arrows. But yeah, as you can see, the lead has definitely lessened quite a bit, at least in terms of entering this dungeon anyway. And then, of course, Odin already has Ice Palace completed, so he literally just has to go to the Eastern Palace area, Palace of Darkness, clear those two out, and he will be heading up to Ganon's Tower right afterwards.
Yep, and it will be important to see if Xelnas goes with the straightforward ice play or tries to do something a little bit more out of the way.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, Ice Palace is a dungeon that you kind of want to do in go mode for how fast it is. So that could potentially lead him astray, but at this point, you know, you got to start thinking about, well, this is how this is right now. It's a crystal dungeon. I can fully complete it. I should probably check that first. But it looks like he is going to be following the 2 crystals he has, the 5 and 6 crystal, which will give him access to the Big Bomb Shop's Super Bomb to get to the Pyramid Fairy location.
Yep, and with Aghanim dead and Mir, this is a pretty quick check, so it's more than reasonable to knock this out before Ice Palace.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And with that, Odinspack gets his 5th crystal, and he just has to go to the eastern pod area now and finish up those 2 dungeons.
Yeah, pod can be super quick, or it can be pretty much a full clear. Eastern at this point is going to be very quick since he's going to get that big key before the back area.
Oh yeah, that's true. Odin hasn't actually looked in Eastern Palace yet. I almost forgot about that. He skipped it earlier.
Yep, his kind of the end result of his play on Aghanim early is he gets the single dip Eastern, which is very rare in this game.
It is. Eastern Palace is one of those Spear 1 locations where right after you get out of the escape sequence, you know, there is a possibility for progression to be there. You can get Dark World items in Eastern Palace very easily, so it's one of those dungeons that you kind of look at and like, well, you know, there could be something here early, so may not be a bad place to check it, but if you wait like Odin did, you're able to essentially clear Palace of Darkness and Eastern in one swoop, and that's what you'll see a lot of runners in this version of the logic do, to just kind of be more efficient and kind of get through these dungeons a lot quicker.
Okay, and Xelnas is making the play to ice, so Odin definitely has, I would actually say this is a pretty substantial lead at this point.
Yeah, I'd definitely agree with that. I wouldn't say the lead is insurmountable by any means. Bad luck, just in certain situations, can always change the tide. But at this point, yeah, Odin's going to be just going through here, getting that big key, getting the keys he needs, and just booking it straight to the end.
Gets a second shield for his troubles of trying to find that big key, which might help in like 2 rooms in the gauntlet.
Gets the red mail. That'll help with defense.
Although his uncle will be disappointed in him when he sees him again.
Mm-hmm. I think your uncle will be disappointed just to see Ganondorf at the very end of it next to him.
You know, that's probably true.
It's like, hey, weren't we fighting against you, or?
It's okay. It's a weird paradox to begin with. I'm sure Uncle understands something.
Yeah. Although him also standing next to like a giant robot with a blaster for an arm is probably not a scary. Is probably kind of a scary prospect too.
Yeah, I can see that being kind of frightening. We do seem to have a relatively late big key going on here in Pod, which is, you know, unfortunate when you know it's all you need here.
Yeah, that's just the way Randomizer goes sometimes. Sometimes they'll just have you looking a bit longer for that thing you need to progress.
And Zelda's moving through ice quite smoothly, got the bomb jump very quickly, so we'll be getting his bow and entering go mode before long. He is going to get to avoid the iced tea room, which is probably the most annoying room to have to go to in Ice Palace.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a location that's kind of on an island by itself. And Odin picking up the big key in the Harmless Hellway here, going to be grabbing it and heading straight back down and heading straight to Helmasaur King.
And Helmasaur King with Butter is a pretty satisfying fight. He goes down pretty quick.
Oh yeah, don't even really need the silvers for that. You can just get a sword spin and a quick slash and he's down. Don't have to worry about lining up your shot with silvers or anything of that nature.
Zelda's doing what we all do, pressing that switch when you don't actually need to open the chest, and walking right past it.
And yeah, with that bow pickup, Xelnas is officially in go mode now at about around the 125, 126 mark. So, you know, still making really, really good time. Both runners getting through the seat very, very quickly without having to dip into any major big pendant dungeons, which is always a plus.
Yeah, the only one they needed to dip being Skull Woods, and both the items were nice and friendly, sitting up front where they were easy to get to.
Definitely. Not bad execution of the turtle room for Odin.
Now we're going to get dueling boss fights going on here.
Yeah, both with varying differential strategies you have to deal with as well.
Helmasaur with his annoying 17 hits from the Hammer Mask, and Cold Stare with the massive damage.
And both bosses are down. I love how they both got dungeon items, though. Xelna's got the compass and Odin got the map.
Together they can find anything.
Mm-hmm. To answer a question in chat, yes, the VTOR randomizer site, which is where we generate a lot of the randomizer seeds for this tournament, has, I want to say, like around 100 sprites you can choose from, developed by members of the community. And there's more sprites added to every single version, so there's a lot of different options to play as. A lot of Nintendo characters, a lot of just other video game characters in general, Toho characters. We even have silly stuff like a mouse cursor sprite or the purple chest. A lot of different sprites you can choose from, and it's a lot of fun to kind of pick your favorite and just kind of do these races with your favorite character.
And then there's the challenge mode of the Invisible Man.
There's Odin's big key. Doesn't he have to pay a visit to the big key chest and go straight to the end now?
I just realized, has Xelnas opened pod yet?
Oh,
No, he hasn't. And he just bought a potion.
Okay, this is going to be unfortunate. Oh, yeah, that's very unfortunate. Especially when you're kind of in this go mode state and you're just trying to get to the end before your opponent, and it's just like, oh, right, I need that. So Xelnas is going to have to find some quick rupee farming places, which there are a couple. You can go to the rupee cave near Desert Palace. So there's also one near Ice Cave as well.
Looks like he's trying to consider his options here. Gonna do Eastern Palace first, probably dip into the rupee room in the back that people don't usually go to.
Unfortunately, though, we'll lose the portal, I believe. Oh, no, I guess he can still get to the portal, as if he left it right there, so it's not too bad. But yeah, there is a nice rupee room near the end of Eastern Palace that you can use to grab some extra rupees, so you'll probably use that.
I want to say that room has 90 rupees, so we'll need to find about 10 off of enemies throughout this dungeon.
That sounds about right. I'm pretty sure the chance will be pretty good to pick up some extras here, though.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he didn't get any drops along the way.
Oh, and he gets 300 for beating Armos, so there you go.
Well, that's even better. And that is Odin's 7th crystal. He's going to be on his way to GT.
Which, that does bring up something important for all of you watching here on the Speed Gaming channel. We have a little bit of a game we like to play here. There are 22 chests in Gannis Tower that could have the big key. In chat, you're going to guess which number chest you think that big key is going to appear in. I'm going to go with my standalone number. I pick it for every single guess of this, no matter the case. I'm going to go with chest number 8.
Not a bad guess. It's usually pretty early, and the big key does show up pretty early, pretty often.
Mm-hmm. It's also a popular number to put at the end of your screen names, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I don't really have a go-to number. I usually just bet on Tile Room, but to make this interesting, I'm going to say 21. It's going to be the last location he checks, so that option for a different route, making the difference and getting this closer comes up.
Okay, that's a fair guess. That's a fair guess. But yeah, also for people playing, if you are subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels, or if you've donated 250 bits to any of the Speed Gaming channels, you will have a chance to be entered into a leaderboard, which will be shown at the end of the Big Key guessing game once we find the Big Key. You do not need to be subscribed or to be a supporter of Speed Gaming to play. It is just for the leaderboard, so still get your guesses in even if you're not subscribed. Everyone's allowed to play this.
You know, after doing that rupee room and then getting that 300 drop, that's got to feel a little bit sad.
Yeah. In his defense, though, it's hard to pinpoint where those rupee drops are. Funnily enough, I think one of them was actually on the pedestal, so... and I don't think he checked that, so, you know, those 300 drops could literally be anywhere at this point.
We get a small key on the right side to start out, so that is going to move him toward the right here. coming up on numbers 3 through 6. Bomb capacity upgrade, arrows, red rupee, and bombs.
Then he's going to grab this small key here, mirror back, just in case he gets the big key in this next location. Doesn't have to worry about going forward to get a key. And number 7 is just a bomb upgrade on Bob's torch.
Bob will live today. And nothing of value in the Stalfos room.
And I believe our next chest is number 12.
That sounds correct. Down here in the double fire bar room.
Ooh, unfortunately, falls in the pit right there. We'll have to navigate this room again.
And a big 20 in number 12. Gonna use some Mario strats on the switches here. Makes it nice and easy. Don't have to worry about missing a boomerang throw or anything.
As we come up to chest number 13. Just the compass. We are still going, everyone.
Yep, and meanwhile, Xelnas gets a different big key and can go complete pod now.
Mm-hmm. But he needs to get that small key first, because there is one small key door also blocking the end of Palace of Darkness, so it's good that he went back, or continued for that.
Yep, good awareness there to go back for it.
And we are still looking for that big key in Ganis Tower up through 17, finding the Cane of Berna and the Mushroom. Unfortunately, none of those will help us find that big key.
Yep, so we got Bob's chest, Ice Armos, and the dreaded tile room. The good thing about tile room big key is that anytime it comes up, you know your opponent didn't gamble and get that right away.
Unless you decide to make the gamble on it being the big chest or the big key location, and then end up losing a lot of time because it's not there. But yeah, usually tile room is the last check just because of how lengthy it takes to get through that.
Yeah, I think in all the time I've watched Rando, I've seen probably less than 5 tile room gambits made.
I don't know how Bob got out of that pit right there, but okay, still not found it. Up to 18 now, so 3 chests remaining. That 21 guess could be a thing.
Bob definitely just used some major glitches there.
Yeah. Bob is no longer applicable for this tourney race. You cannot use major glitches.
Rip Bob. He got to live, and he turned into a cheater.
And chest number 20 is going to be our chest for the big key today. Not quite 21, but still having to go all the way to Ice Armos just to get that big key, as Odinspack is on his way to the top of Ganis Tower.
And so theoretically, if Xelnas went full right straight from the compass room to Ice Armos, he would gain back a little bit of time, but probably not enough to really make up the difference.
Yeah, unfortunately not. But he did get his 7th crystal just now, so he is going to be on his way to Ganon's Tower as well. Realistically, not terribly far behind. Again, any major catastrophe or, just misplays, bad execution, stuff like that could always, kind of even things out a little bit, but Odin does have a pretty significant lead at this point.
Yeah, I'd kind of put it as it's kind of stepped out of his control. He needs Odin to make a mistake in order for him to catch up now. Whereas if a routing difference could make up, then it could be still in his control.
Mm-hmm. It's basically Odin's race to lose at this point. Is I guess the best way to put it.
Gonna stop over here at the safety room, grab a couple fairies. Want to go back just to make sure. I will forever hate trying to bonk off that wall and accidentally being just 1 pixel too far over. Like, oh,
yeah.
I guess I'm going back in here now.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Odin going through the gauntlet right now. The gauntlet's called the gauntlet because you have to make your way through 5 rooms of varying enemy types with really annoying obstacles along each room. Got conveyor belts, ice physics, BMOs that are taking a nice little treadmill ride on the conveyor belts. Just a lot of things to kind of just make these rooms very, very annoying to get through. And the enemy RNG is not consistent whatsoever, so these rooms can be quite the challenge to get through unscathed.
Yeah, they certainly can. And kind of as mentioned earlier, when Xelnas does get here, he's going to have half magic fire rod and it'll make it a little bit easier. But even with that, there's still a chance of things going horribly wrong.
Odin just opting to use Gold Sword to finish off these Lamb Nobles. Not a bad idea. It takes only 2 hits from the Gold Sword to knock him down.
Yeah, and once you powder that bunny beam and they're all jumping out at the same time to begin with, it's definitely tricky to get all the silvers in.
Mm-hmm.
Said we are through the gauntlet and move into the second of the 2 Wizrobe rooms. I'll always forever say that that is seemingly the reason the projectiles were added to Cane of Samaria, was just to make those rooms happen.
Yeah, it works out so perfectly. It's like, was this room designed with Cane of Samaria in mind? It must have, just with how clean it is.
See, I'm kind of the other way of, I feel like Cane of Samaria was designed for a ton of different things in the game that it could be.
Right.
Like, because you get it so late and it doesn't do much, there are just all these weird little effects to it that seem to be tailored to other places that you should never have it.
Right. I can understand that.
Xelnas is making that full right play.
Did you just see that? Odin walked through that door with the door's unbombed.
Yep, it's another case of Link to the Past and not being able to do 2 things at once. So he bombed that door at the exact same frame that one of the torches in the last torch room went out, and that caused the wall to not disappear visually, but to disappear hitbox-wise.
Okay.
This game is very weird sometimes.
It is. It definitely is. That's the first time I've seen that. That's why I'm just having such a huge reaction.
I think that's the first time that I've actually seen it happen to someone. I've just heard a bunch of people ask about it on the Discord.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I imagine that's just a minor glitch, though, so no big deal. Odin's fine. Not gonna get a DQ for that or anything.
Okay, I'm not sure if Zelnus is gambling here or if he doesn't realize he doesn't have a small key on him.
Oh, yeah. That could be a problem. And Agatu goes down for Odinspack. He is going to be heading to the Ganon fight. I don't think he has any potions right now, so we'll need to be a little bit careful. But with Red Mail, should be okay, I imagine.
If I want to say last time he pulled up his menu, he had a fairy in a bottle, but I'm not 100% on that.
That wouldn't surprise me. He does have the bug net, so.
With that butter sword, it's going to take 6 hits for the first 2 phases, so they go pretty quickly.
Yeah, I imagine he's already in the 3rd phase by this point.
Yep, and spending time doing what we all do, taking any frustrations we might have with the seed out on Ganon. We'll be moving into phase 4 here any moment. Just 4 silver arrows to wrap this up.
Does not get the torch glitch, but that's not a huge deal, just because he does have silvers and, again, has the lantern, so shouldn't be too concerned about magic right now.
The only downside for him is those torches did end up pretty desync, which makes it a little bit tougher.
Looks like he is kind of waiting it out there. Good play. This is going to be silver arrow number 3. Just needs one more to get the final hit on Ganon here. There it is. Just needs to make sure he does not walk in the pit before the victory jingle.
The most annoying glitch with that fanfare.
And there we go, everyone. Odinspack has finished and won the race with a time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 31 seconds. Get your GGs in chat. Very well played by Odin.
Yes, it was. He executed very well throughout, and he made the call to go to Ice Palace nice and early, and that made a lot of difference.
It really did. It was it was a gamble, but it was also like a well thought out gamble. If there was that progression in there, he would be in go mode, and he was able to pretty much do the rest of the game in go mode. Didn't have to check any other locations, and it worked out for him.
Yep, a lot of times on these open seeds, you gotta pick something to gamble on, and usually Ice Palace is not a bad choice for that.
Yeah, definitely not. It's definitely a dungeon that, you want to go in go mode. You want to do that dungeon in go mode, but sometimes you can't afford that. And it can be, in this case right here, it can be a well-calculated gamble. If there is something in there, you have that advantage over your opponent, and that's kind of what happened here.
Oh, dear lord, he is saved.
Yeah, Xelnus does get saved there by the small key. So we'll not have to climb the tower again, and we'll be able to finish the seed. Honestly, not far after Odin. This was a pretty close race, all things considered.
Yep, this should be with a relatively smooth Aga and Ganon, probably less than 6-minute difference. I just had to say something.
Mm-hmm.
That is painful.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, gonna see if we can get our winner in for a short little interview. And joining us in the commentary channel, we have our winner for today, Odinspack. GG, how are you feeling after that race?
GG. Whoa. It went better than the last one, so that was
yeah. Yeah, had 2 better sword upgrades and a silver arrow upgrade. I think that is miles ahead of what you had to work with last seed.
Yeah, not having to do Silverless Ganon is a Master Sword Silverless Ganon was definitely a relief this time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was pretty, despite the Aghanim play, obviously, a very quick seed, all things considered. A lot of dungeons you got to go mode.
Wasn't Aghanim required? Ega 1?
Yeah, I said it was required, despite
okay.
it being required.
Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure I had to go there.
Yeah, you did. Well, see, the interesting thing is, you didn't necessarily know that because you did have Eastern Palace still on the table at that point.
You know, I was like, am I forgetting something? But I was like, no, I got it. I got everything. I'm good. Ooh, thinking about that, that would have been pretty rough. I think I would have realized it after I beat it. I was like, oh yeah, right. That was, by the way, not an intentional gamble at all. That was just forgetting.
Oh wow! And here we were, like, kind of building you up. Wow, this is a really good gamble. He actually gained some time back after the fake flipper death. But
yeah,
that did work out though. And your opponent actually, unfortunately, died on the way up to Aghanim during that tower climb, so that kind of set him back a little bit. And
that's a rough climb.
And unfortunately, had the same kind of thing happen in Ganon's tower as well. Right as you finished, you actually end up taking a death and have to go through the whole tower again. So it was really a close race considering.
Yeah, I made a really bad play. Like I thought I had all my pendants checked off on my list, and then I went in the swamp, and I was like, wait a minute, this is Light World Music Dungeon. I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, we definitely noticed that. I believe Adirondack Brick in chat pointed that out. That he heard the music. Okay, he's leaving.
Yeah, I meant to say this. Rick just said in the chat, what about that bomb wall again? I'm not DQ'd, right? Like I'm pretty sure it was supposed to blow up, and then I put another bomb, and then I went through it. I'm like, okay, is this Zelda 1? Like fake walls? Like.
Yeah, you're not DQ'd. That's fine. It is a minor glitch. I don't know exactly how it works. Honestly, this is the first time I've seen it. But yeah, because like you bombed the wall and entered it at the same exact frame, so because of it, like it's still like was technically still there visually, but you bombed the wall at that point, so it was legal. It was legal.
Okay, I was like, are they gonna make me climb back up again to bomb it?
Mm-hmm. Nah, you're good. But yeah, I guess one question I have is, there were some things on the table. Obviously, Turtle Rock was opened and able to be gone into very early, especially with Canis Maria in Thieves Town and whatnot. You also had Pyramid Fairy available to you as well at that point. What prompted the Ice Palace play as early as you went in there?
It was just kind of like I was over there, so I figured like it's a crystal dungeon and I'm already kind of near it. I should probably do it because my kind of like ideas for when I do randomizer is if I can do a dungeon, and especially if it's close by and it's a crystal, I'm gonna do it, because if the item I need is in there, then I don't gotta worry about going to a bunch of overworld places. And that was kind of my ideas. Like when I got purple chest, like I went down, and because I knew I was gonna do desert, but then when purple chest was the flute, I'm like, okay, well I'll just do that when I go do Mystery Mire. And And then I went out to swamp because again I thought it was a crystal, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's not. And then so that was the continuation. Like, okay, I'm gonna go to Ice Palace now. So it was kind of just like a sweep on the like an L of Hyrule.
Well, hey, it makes sense, and honestly, that's what benefited you, because, again, your opponent did opt to kind of check Desert and Misery and Mire first, and, you know, you both had Desert completed, except for the boss at that point, and Mire, you had to go pretty far away for that big keep, but, again, just the fact you went to Ice Palace, a dungeon that a lot of people want to do in Go Mode, and then just managed to pull the bow, your Go Mode item from that was... very well played in this seed. It was a good gamble that worked out for you.
Yeah, when I saw Bo, I was just in my head. I was just like, just let Mire not be Ether, please. I really don't want to go find it. And that's why I went to see Sick Kid when I got the flute, because I was like, just in case. I was like, I'm like right here. I might as well check just in case. So.
Mm-hmm. And and that was a big thing because we did not know if you were in Go Mode or not at that point. Xelnas actually had all 3 medallions. The Ether medallion was in the King's Tomb location.
Oh, okay.
And so he picked that up pretty early. And, you know, I'm willing to bet that a lot of what kind of discouraged you from checking there was that death in Village of Outcasts, which kind of set you off to Death Mountain instead.
Yeah, I was going to go on Thieves Town. But I died. I was like, you know what? I got the hook shot. I got the mirror. I'm just gonna, and I got the Titan's mitts because I got those in, because those were in Skull Woods. So I was like, you know, I got all that stuff. Just go up Death Mountain. There's a lot of stuff up there. So.
Yeah. So thankfully that Ether medallion was not required. So, and yeah, he had all 3 medallions. And the funny thing is, he went to the Mire area as you were finishing off Cold Stare. And he was not checking the medallion for us because he had all 3. He didn't need to check. So we were just in suspense. We literally did not find out what the medallion was until you saw it on your screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, please don't, because I probably would have checked like all of my area, and then I probably would have routed in going to like Magic Cape and Graveyard Ledge, and then going to King's Tomb. So there would have been a little bit of time lost there for sure.
Anyway, but yeah, definitely GG on your race. You are still in this tournament for sure, moving forward with a 2-2 record. How are you feeling heading into next week?
I'm anxious because it means I'm still in, but like every race is a possible elimination. So. And I know each of my opponents are the same way too. They're gonna be, you know, just as hungry for that win. So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, for sure. And as we say that, xelnasTV does finish off his fight against Ganon, and he has completely finished this race with an official SR.TV time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 1 second. So both runs under 2 hours. Get your GGs in chats and congratulate him on his run. And looks like we already have him in the waiting room. Hey, Xelnas, GG, congrats on finishing the race. How are you doing?
Well, I don't know.
Hello?
Hey.
So, how about that seed?
Nothing wrong with it. Adder seed, no pendants required except for Skullwoods, but I don't even consider the front half a dungeon, so. Didn't have to touch Turtle Rock, didn't have to touch Swamp. I made the mistake of executing awfully at a tower, and also go into desert with just the boots and book and nothing else. So, I died there because I wasn't paying attention because I stopped caring at the end there. Pretty much lost that, I guess, because of the Agadeth, which is like 3 minutes.
Yeah, the Agadeth was definitely pretty substantial. Your opponent also was able to, he actually after getting his second crystal and after grabbing the flute from the purple chest, he actually opted to go to Ice Palace, and he also kind of had
that's
the
what I thought.
bow a lot earlier as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, still like very close race considering that. I mean, both you were near the top of Ganon's Tower when you finished, and like you said, yeah, that Aga death was unfortunately a major time loss at that point.
Yeah, I had a feeling that he went to Ice early because I was thinking about it too. Kind of the signs pointed to there, but I felt like, hey, like right around the time I decided to go to what's it called, Catfish.
Mm-hmm.
It was either that or Ice Palace, and yeah.
And it's again, it's one of those things where you have to think that, yeah, like Ice Palace, it's one of those dungeons you want to clear and go mode. And not only that, but at that point you essentially had both Desert and Misery Mire available. And you could have also even done an even bigger gamble by going into Turtle Rock at that point as well. So there were honestly a lot of options, and Pyramid Ferry was definitely one of the things that we took notice of immediately. Like, okay, Desert and Thieves Town both clearable very early on, and you know, we're kind of thinking that was kind of what you were thinking at that point, which is why you kind of shifted more towards that side of the map. And sure enough, you did check Pyramid Ferry right after, unfortunately, to no particular advantage.
Yeah, I knew that I knew that there wasn't gonna be nothing was gonna be independent. I mean, this if anything, I found that this logic doesn't put like the logic just doesn't really put things in dungeons. Period. Again, I mean, I don't consider, and most people don't consider the front half of Spellwoods to be part of the dungeon. It's just kind of caves. It's just a weird cave system. It's no different than like than checking like Lumberjack. No, sorry, not. It's no different than checking like Agonum or Mini Moldarm. The only difference is that you can only get 2 items compared, even though there's like 5 or 6 chests.
Yeah, exactly, and that's definitely a good way to look at it. This seems like this logic does seem to have a lot more, definitely an overworld compared to past versions of the logic, and you know, definitely in this seed, like yeah, there seemed to be way more progression outside of dungeons as opposed to in them. It's just that all the really important things like mirror, mitts, and bow were in those dungeon locations.
I don't know. Third-rate runner with fourth-rate routing. That's me.
Well, still, I mean, you know, it's still a sub 2 hour seed. Definitely a very entertaining race to commentate and also watch. So, you know, don't sell yourself too short. I think you did a good job. And, you know, things like dying in Aghanim's Tower, Ganon's Tower, there's just things that happen sometimes. Like you said, the race was over by the time you did die in Ganon's Tower, and you know, at that point,
I kind of didn't care about. Wasn't paying attention to my health or anything. So.
Yeah, perfectly understandable. Just being in that mindset just kind of happens in races like this, especially when it is pretty close considering. But that's all I personally have to say. Sorry, I've been kind of hogging the mic. Do you have anything to say, Mentos Man, or any questions to ask?
I think you pretty much covered all of it.
Okay, then. Well, I guess at that point, we can probably start closing out this race then. I want to thank all of our wonderful viewers for being a part of this race today. It was a lot of fun to get to commentate and a lot of fun to watch. We do have more races coming up today for sure. Let me very quickly pull up the schedule just to kind of give you a sneak peek of what's to come. I believe there's actually a race that started just now on Speed Gaming 3. Yes, Walter 4 versus Mallet. So if you want to hop on over there, go and check that out. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, we have races all day on all of the Speed Gaming channels. I don't think we have any scheduled for the ALTTP Randomizer channels just yet, but that could also change as well. And just in general, if you want to see more from this tournament, definitely check out all those channels, Speed Gaming 1 through 6, as well as ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4. And yeah, special thanks to our tracker for this particular race, Michael K. And of course, thank you, Mentos Man, for being my co-con for this. This was a lot of fun.
I agree. And Odin and Zelnus, thanks for putting on a very good race. Like it was said, it was very close up until the end. Super entertaining to watch.
Definitely. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up and sign out. So see you guys next time.
Yeah, have a good
Yeah,
day, everyone.
thanks, everyone.